¿Qué pasó, HCP Familia? It's G Funky Boxing. I'm back with my boy, my partner in crime, D-Style Boxing. And we got a special guest today, a personal friend of mine, Jay Stu from Loyal Roots. He's here. He's going to talk about some things that that we could, there's some things have come out recently with this whole Glovegate scenario and stuff like that. So he's going to touch on some of this stuff. This way we can, we can understand what really happens when these sort of injuries go down. We got some of the familia in the chat already. We got Nopal, we got Run PMC, and we got A-Rod, man. He says, Salud, Raza, and Run PMC. Yes, right. HCP Wolfpack is representing. Nopal says, HCP Familia, salute. Glad you guys could make it. This is going to be a really good show, man. We're going to have also 97 Rough from Leave It in the Ring should be here. So, yeah, man, this is going to be a really, really good show. But D-Style, man, what's up, bro? How you doing, man?
Hey, man, I'm chilling like a villain. You know what I mean? That's the main thing I'm doing right now.
I like that, man. And it's always good to have you on, man. We're going to do some cooking here, but my homeboy is going to cook first on a topic here, but I want to introduce him to the audience here, man. This is Jay Stu of Loyal Roots, man. How's it going, bro?
Hey, what's good, man? Just, glad to be here and glad to help out.
That's right, man. That's what we do around here, man, on HCP, man. We help each other out, But my boy here, man, he runs the clothing line, and he's going to be featured here soon, real soon. So, you guys will see him, and you guys already see me wearing a lot of the stuff that he makes. So, we'll get him on, and he'll talk about, some of his merchandise that he has. And, yeah, it's all good stuff, man. So, but basically what I want to talk about is this, man. I want to talk about these new claims that have come out from, Wilder and the Glovegate camp. We got a few more people here. We got Cakes Poppin' says, what's up to Jay Stu? Fistiana is here. She says, hello, gentlemen. How you doing? Thanks for joining us. Gano Loco is here. Thank you guys so much for being here. So here's the new thing that I'm hearing. Now, we've already heard about the dent in Wilder's, the quote unquote dent in Wilder's skull. But now I guess the proof that you can have a dent in your skull is from a fight from, I want to say, not quite sure the year, but some time ago, at least 10 years ago, maybe a little less. But Nonito Donaire and Fernando Montiel had a fight where Montiel was brutally knocked out by Donaire. And there's a picture that surfaced recently where they showed what looks like a quote-unquote dent to the skull, right? So let me go ahead and share this for you guys. I got a picture of it. I'm going to go ahead and share it so we can, look at this and examine this. All right, there we are. Everyone can see this photo here, right? You guys on the panel, you guys can see this, right?
Yep. Yes, sir.
Okay, so while we're looking at this image here, Jay Stu, my brother, him and I, right? We've 92 AKU. What's up, bro? We've known each other for quite some time, man. I mean, 20 plus years now. So what was going on here? I want to say it was probably at least 10 years ago. We were playing a rec league game, basketball. And my boy Jay Stu suffered an injury to the face. And it was quite reminiscent of this. When I seen this photo here, I was like, all right, I got to call him and see and see what he thinks of this, And so I'm going to let him talk about what happened and how, and the aftermath, everything. So go ahead, man, cook.
Yeah, so like you had laid out, we were playing rec league basketball, and as an offensive player, I had made a move one-on-one with somebody coming at me, probably about a 45-degree angle, went up to take the layup. Never mind. I'm sorry. It was a dunk, of course. No, I'm just kidding. And you know, I didn't even see it coming. Somehow I was hit with an elbow, and it felt kind of funny. Like you know, got hit. It kind of hurt, but not really. But it had enough of effect to where, you know, I kind of questioned it, and you know, it's quite some time ago. But I do recall, you know, coming to the bench, and I think Mario, you were there, and I think I had asked you, like, you know, hey man, you know, what's my face look like? Obviously, I can't see nothing, but I kind of felt something, and I was like, does it look like, you know what I mean? There's like a depression, or like it's caved in or something like that, because it felt a little different. And you know, when you show the picture here, it looked very, very similar when I had, you know, gotten home. And the girlfriend at the time, now the wife, she told me, I think you should go, you know, to the doctors or hospital, whatever. Which I was like, nah, it'd probably be, you know, it'd be all right. Ain't, you know, nothing really big. And turns out I go there just to kind of like, you know, kind of satisfy her, and got some X-rays, and the zygomatic arch bone, which looks, I mean, dead on to this picture here, was snapped in half.
Yeah, I remember that exact play because you came to the bench, and you know I was sitting there. You came and you sat right next to me. And you were like, bro, like, does my face? Does it look like there's like an indentation on my face? And like, I got to be honest, it was kind of hard to see at first. You know, maybe just the focus of the game or whatever. But you know, I remember you were saying, and you were like, man, I feel it. Like I could feel it. You know, like you're
Yeah, yeah,
in your face. The game was over. You know, we all went our separate ways, and I remember texting, and I was like, you know, hey, what's up, man? You doing all right? And I think it was, you know, your wife, you know, your girlfriend was your wife now. She texted back and was like, hey, he's got to have an operation to fix it, you know. And I was like,
yeah.
damn, I didn't think it was that serious, you know. But you know, let me make this a little bit. This is the bone right here that he's talking about.
Right.
Now, this is exactly in the same region as what we see from Montiel in that other picture. So,
Yes.
explain to us how that was fixed. You know?
Yeah. So I was also, like, you know, taken back and caught off guard. Certainly surprised that it, you know, was basically the X-rays looked the way they did, and kind of couldn't believe it, because I was thinking to myself, how can I, you know, talk and chew and, you know, just kind of act pretty normally without a lot of discomfort. But you know, the X-rays were factual. Ain't no disputing that. That's a fact. And they kind of gave me two options, and they were saying, well, you can kind of leave it and, you know, potentially have a misalignment of like your jaw, or not have the full functioning of, you know, opening your mouth like you're accustomed to, or you could have problems later on in life. So that didn't sound too attractive. So they gave me two options. One was to kind of cut, both being surgery, cut along your hairline, kind of fold your face over, and to potentially screw it back in place. That, you know, they'd have to find out once they actually got in there to determine severity of break. And that's a funny comment right there.
That's why I had to throw it up there.
Yeah, that was good. And the second one was to, like, go in through either my nose or my mouth inside, and which is more invasive and kind of a longer recovery time. And so I chose that one. Maybe it was that movie Face Off that kind of scared me back in the day with Nick Cage and John Travolta.
I was just gonna say that you're gonna be like Face Off, bro. They're
Yeah.
gonna take your face off and repair
Yeah.
that bone.
It's funny how those, you know, Hollywood moments can kind of, you know, leave a lasting impression on us. So I went the tougher route, and yeah, you know, it was only about a week or two after the incident that I had the surgery, and they had told me after, when I had woken up, that the bones had healed so fast they had a lot of trouble to re-break and put in place the bone to, you know, fall in its natural alignment, and that I'd be feeling pretty pain, and I would feel a lot of pain and be in some discomfort for probably 6 weeks.
Mm. So yeah, that's the thing, man, that we wanted to hit on is that the claims that Wilder had a dent in his skull, or should we use the correct term, a fracture? Because I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, but you have more experience in this than I do, obviously. But
Sure.
bones don't dent. So I mean, this whole dent thing, that's not what happened there. If this is what you guys think it is, then the man had a fracture to the skull, and that's a very serious thing, right or wrong.
I mean, yeah. Again, no medical background other than this incident that happened to me, but it doesn't sound too logical. I mean, hey, evidence can prove otherwise, but it would seem that a skull fracture would be far more serious, potentially life-threatening, especially to the brain itself. Pretty fragile, So I can't really foresee something like that, and this kind of fracture incident is actually really common in fights and car accidents. And I remember before I zonked out, them telling me that they're asking, so how'd you get here? Was it a bar? Probably because of my age, being in young 20s, bar fight, or was it a car accident? And I was just like, nah, basketball. And they're like, never heard of that.
Yeah, I mean, you could just, I mean, from the picture from Montiel, I mean, it looked to me pretty identical to what I remember what yours was looking like that day. And
Yeah.
that was, I mean, it was shocking to hear, man, because like I said, like, I mean, obviously you felt it, you complained about it, but it wasn't like you were like, dude, like, I need to go to the damn hospital right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was nowhere near that.
If I was a single dude at the time, I probably would have just chalked it up.
Yeah, no doubt. But yeah, that right there, I mean, that requires surgery, guys. So this whole thing about Wilder having a fractured skull, or like you guys like to say, dented skull. I mean, that just, to me, it just doesn't add up. I mean, the man would have to have surgery to repair that. D-Style, would you like to chime in on any of this, man?
I think all you have to do is feel yourself on that temple area, and you will feel like like we have different layers of skin and tissue. You know what I mean? And like the closer the skull gets towards the ear, it kind of curves. It's not like a straight line back. You know what I mean? What makes it look straight back would be the actual skin itself, right? So I think what that could be is maybe the tissue got punctured, right? And it causes the surrounding areas to swell. I think that's one of the best explanations I could give anybody. And in the case of Wilder, more so than Montiel, is he's swelling up like in the ear area. You know what I mean? I do think the eardrum was rattled at least. I don't think it was busted, but he had to be rattled there in the ear canal. I think there was a lot of swelling going on there, and Diaz is using the ant swell to kind of smooth away, towards the the ear cavity, which can doesn't mean it did, but it can move the bump, which I did confirm with a cut man. So again, doesn't always happen, but it's a possibility. But even if it had nothing to do with that, the fact that he got punched on the swelling, can definitely explain it. Or maybe the swelling just formed around that area. You know what I mean? It could be a lot of things. But if someone says he had a dent on his head, that doesn't mean the actual bone, right? It doesn't mean the actual skull. It could be the tissue right there. Just the way I see it personally, because it doesn't add up. If the hypothesis is, hey, he dented it with an egg weight, right, with a metal object of some sort, or some blunt object, and maybe he had, hands of steel, like his wraps were so hardened that he used that to dent it, right? Then why didn't it break his like the bridge of his nose. And why didn't it, when he punched him on the jaw repeatedly? Josecito Lopez is not known as a big puncher. He broke, the jaw of Victor
Victor
Ortiz.
Ortiz, yeah.
Yeah, so like it's not impossible to think that, that would happen again. And I keep using the same analogy. If I grab a hammer, right, and I hit you in the side of the head and it causes a dent, but I also swing at you with that hammer at your nose, right, at your orbital bone, right under your eye. And would it make sense that there'll be no damage like that on the orbital bone and the bridge of your nose, but there's going to be a dent on the head? That just seems very unlikely in my opinion.
I have to agree. And before I let you go, Jay Stu, I know you got some things going on right now, but I want you to repeat what the pediatrician told you, because you got two young boys and when you got young boys running around the house, there's there's going to be accidents. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
So what did they tell you about? You told me a little something earlier. So tell us what you told me earlier, and then you can go ahead and bounce out if you want, man.
Oh yeah, real quick. So I mean, anyone with kids knows, there's definitely going to be those moments throughout every day. And when kids fight, someone gets bumped in the head, or falls down, whatever the circumstances. If you're questioning whether you should go to the hospital or not, and you get hit in the head, you got a lump, then you're good. But if you don't, and something's like a depression, then you should definitely get that checked out. So again, a lump's kind of a good thing, shows something swelling, but anything else, you need to get to the hospital pronto.
Absolutely. And this is a guy who had a fractured bone in the face, and it had to be repaired by surgery. Like, it didn't just magically heal itself. Okay. And I know a lot of you guys think Wilder is this big superhero guy, but he's not Wolverine. Okay. He doesn't just heal like that. Okay. Somebody had to go in there and fix whatever that was. If that was.
And you see the picture, the same, depression is again cause for concern.
Absolutely, man. So, Jay Stu, I want to thank you for coming on and sharing that story and giving us some information about it. Anything you want to say before you bounce out, man?
No, man. Thanks for having me, bro.
Anytime, man. Thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate it. That was my boy, one of my best friends in life right there, Jay Stu from Loyal Roots. Again, you'll be seeing him more often on the channel here as we move forward. But yeah, man, this is, again, a dent to the skull or the head. Like, that's nothing to play with, man. Like, if that was something that really happened, Wilder would have to have surgery on that to repair that. Like, there's just no way around that. And we don't have any evidence of that. So, and again, you can't use the Montiel picture because it's definitely not the same. It's just not. So, D-Style, I got any last words on that? Or are you ready to move on?
I'm ready to move on. Believe me.
All right. So now I want to talk about, since we're on the topic of Glovegate, I keep seeing this over and over and over again. Now, Blood had a good show today, and he had a lot of people on his platform where they talked about this type of stuff. And of course, I see in the chat and I hear guys that were on the panel bring up Antonio Margarito. Now, I don't understand why this is even being, or even trying to. I mean, I understand why they're trying to relate it, but it just does. They're just not the same. Okay, this is not the same issue here with Tyson Fury and Margarito. Go ahead, bro.
A couple of things I want to touch on. Okay, because there's a reason the Margarito, right? There's a reason they're using that. Like, there's a reason that's being used. It's not random. There's a method behind it, and I understand it. Okay, so we need to remember that whenever you're talking to people that believe in Glovegate, certain arguments just don't work, right? And to a certain degree, I understand why they don't work, right? So, you know, if you tell them, well, look, the commission is there, they're watching the whole time. I know somebody that, you know, works with that. They're just going to tell you, well, look, the commission was there for Margarito and they didn't catch him. Nassim Richardson caught him. The commission doesn't know what to look for. And that's why they're using that. And we need to acknowledge that at the very least, so we don't seem oblivious to the point that they're making. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I'm acknowledging it. I understand it, just so they're not, oh, what do you mean? Like, no, I completely understand where that's coming from. The same thing with Resto. Like, the commission was there. They didn't catch Resto. It wasn't until Collins' dad greeted Resto after the fight that he felt the glove, right? And then he kind of realized, you know what, this guy has no padding. That's how they caught him. That's another example that they will use. However, what needs to be said is this. Rules were then put in place after Resto,
Yes.
right? Rules were put in place to prevent something like that. It doesn't mean, right, that, you know, it's impossible to cheat. I don't think anyone has ever said that, right? And I think people need to stop saying that too, because I think it gives the impression to people like, oh, what do you mean? If somebody like what it means is that the commission watching is real, the inspectors being there is real, and it makes it far more unlikely to cheat than you were able to cheat when, you know, Resto did it. That's what that means, right?
Yes.
And then with the Margarito situation, this is where it gets interesting, all right? With Nassim Richardson, you gotta peel it off like an onion. It's all in layers. This whole thing's in layers. Okay. So first, let's start with Nassim, and let's start with Trinidad first. Okay. Felix Trinidad, right? The way his dad would wrap his hands was only illegal in New York.
In New York. Yeah.
It was not illegal everywhere else. So if that fight was anywhere else, they would have told Nassim, well, too bad. He gets to wrap his hands that way. All right. So that's number one. Okay. So just putting that out there. In the case of Antonio Margarito, right? With Antonio Margarito, right? Look, he did request for the hands to get unwrapped so he could check them, right? But what people need to understand is this, like, Nassim Richardson was there with the commission and with the commission's permission while it was getting processed, right? Was able to tell them, no, hold on, go back. Can we go back with that? Oh, what's this, right? While they were doing it. The perception is this. The perception is his hands got wrapped up, right? And then Nassim walked in and said, no, I need those unwrapped right now. And the perception was that the commission already signed them off and they were ready to go. No, it all happened while he was there.
Yeah.
All right. While he was there. So, and in that process, with the authority of the commission, he was allowed to check whatever he checked, right? And they were able to say, you know what, we're not going to use these wraps. We're going to have to start all over. And they were able to do that, right? I mean, I need to make sure people understand that, how it went down.
And
right?
I got some audio here from Richardson himself.
Okay. Play it.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I got some audio here from Nassim Richardson himself. And look, this is not us trying to tear down a deceased man, all right? You know, this is just, we're just trying to get the facts out there on what really happened, because there's a lot of misunderstanding when it comes to this situation. So this is Richardson right here speaking about it, and I just want you guys to hear the audio. Check this out.
Okay.
You know, that's how I'm shaving the law. Like, come on, man. You know, look at the fire so warm. So you're watching everything just be overprotective. It's bad. And I'm watching them rap, and I just saw the cushion on the table, and I picked it up to check it. And the thing was hard. I told the guy, I said, that deputy commissioner feels all right to me. I said, well, don't feel all right to me. And then the commissioner felt it. Mitchell said, no, that feels pretty hard. They opened up and that block fell out. And I almost messed up the whole fight. So I'm a street guy, dude. As soon as that block fell out, I was about to come across the table and punch that dude in his mouth. Then the story would have been about it. When I saw me still going to court for fighting the folks, that would have been an issue. Then I thought I threw the fight off because I thought they was going to lock him up.
Yeah, so he said, you heard it right there. He said a block fell out. Let me plug my headphones back in 1 second, guys.
Yeah.
Check, make sure that they're working.
And I just want to make sure people understand this. They had the wraps, and it was never a block.
Absolutely. Now
Like,
he
it wasn't
claimed,
a block. Like, that's an exaggeration of what was in there. Like, I mean, there's no other way to put it.
yes. And when you get finished, I have another video here with
Oh, go ahead,
Shane.
play it.
Okay, yeah, let me get this clip real quick because Shane Mosley spoke about it as well, and Shane Mosley is the guy who was fighting Margarito that night. So they literally got to bring these wraps over to Mosley's dressing room, and he examined them too. So I mean, again, this is nothing new that guys can go and examine, wraps or gloves or anything like that. I mean, there's another thing going out there that that guys can check wraps and shit now. Like, that's always been a thing, guys. That's never it's never been like a new thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking for. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and unplug.
Take your time.
All right. So this is Shane Mosley speaking about it as well. Here we go.
Was the first time, but when my coach brought the hand wraps to the dressing room right before the fight, and they tried to play, I mean, it was evident that he was doing that, and it was.
Now I'm gonna pause it real quick. He just said plaster of Paris. That's what Shane Mosley just said. So keep it rolling.
Capetillo, which is his coach,
Yeah,
which I knew too. He was saying he was going to make his hands feel better or not hurt because it was probably hurting because it was a punch or whatever. But I think that, he thought there was a little edge, so they wanted to use that edge in the fights. And that, that's not good done. And a couple of sparring partners said that they kind of got hurt from him sparring with him and not knowing why they're feeling the way they are. So, I mean, it could have been a good while, and nothing happened. You put plaster pearl in your hands, and it's the regular, and then you go outside. When you start boxing, then sweat causes it.
That's
to
what
turn
they say,
more,
right?
Yeah, the sweat causes turn more into cast. But he was using the knuckle pads. They made him as knuckle pads, not the whole wrap, not the whole thing.
Yeah, the whole cast.
Not the whole cast. It was just the knuckle pads, and that's what was. It was found in the wrapping.
Yeah, I think.
Okay. So again, he said plaster of Paris. Let me just plug in real quick. Sorry, guys. Move it down here.
Okay, so Shane Mosley says again, they took the wraps from Margarito's dressing room over to his dressing room. He examined it, and he said that he says, that's just what Mosley says, plaster of Paris on the gloves, and that it wasn't the entire glove, it was just a knuckle pad. Not that, like, again, we've heard this a lot.
Entire wrap, yeah.
Yeah, we've heard that the whole entire wrap was plaster of Paris. Like that's not even close to the truth, not even close to the facts. But again, this is Mosley. Now, I don't know if Mosley showed up to the court hearings or even looked at any of the documents from those court hearings, but that's very far from what I've been researching. You want to say anything about this, D-Style?
Well, one, I'm interested to know how did Mosley know just by looking at it that it was plaster of Paris? That's what I want to know, right?
Yeah, exactly.
How do you just by looking at it, like, oh, that's definitely plaster of Paris, right? Like, I mean, I because it sounds a lot different to what he's saying most recently. There's newer interviews of Mosley saying, when they're saying, hey, do you think he cheated against Cotto? And he clearly says, you know what, I think. He says, I don't know. And he says, I just think I was better stylistically for Margarito than Cotto was. I grew up in Pomona, I was in Los Angeles boxing, and sparring a bunch of Mexican fighters and learning from them. So Margarito's style was something I was more prepared for than a Miguel Cotto. And Miguel Cotto for me was, he was a tougher matchup for me than for Margarito and etc. Right? So he goes into detail saying like he kind of knew why Margarito gave Cotto a lot of problems stylistically. You know what I mean? So that I mean he said something differently before, but look, man, if you can't say it was a block if it wasn't a block, because that paints a picture like goddamn, like a big I'm picturing like some brass knuckles, bro.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like type shit is what I'm picturing in my head. If that's what you're saying, at the end of the day, you know what I mean. So the story's kind of like I'm not gonna say Mosley, has backtracked his statements, but he has gone from that was plaster of Paris to I don't know now. All of a sudden he doesn't know. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like that's a big drastic change to go from that was plaster of Paris to or whatever. Hey man, like I don't know about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and Sonteo, I'm going to read this comment here from Sonteo. He says, after Capetillo, Margarito started training with Robert Garcia. Robert has recently said he attended all the court hearings dealing with the hand wrap gate. No one ever showed up to court on Nasim's team. Yes, that's exactly what I heard from people that were at the hearings. One of them is this guy right here from Leave It in the Ring, Dave Duenas, who was there. And not only that, Doug Fisher was there. And I believe Gabriel Montoya also, who's done a lot of stuff on this situation. To me, that's a red flag. Now, other people might feel differently about it. But my thing is this. You heard what Nasim said in that clip that I played where he said, I wanted to jump over the table and fight this guy. Like, I'm very protective over my fighters, So, I mean, I would think he would want to show up to court if that was the case, and get this guy banned. Like, that's
Right.
I mean, I'm only speaking for myself. I'm not trying to speak on a dead man's perspective, and rest in peace to Nasim Richardson. But what I'm saying is, for me, if I felt that strongly about somebody and what they did to one of my fighters, I'm going to court and I'm making sure I'm going to do everything in my power to get this fucking guy out of the sport, man. That's the way I would look at it. Dave, what's going on, bro? Thanks for joining us.
Hey, what's going on, guys? How you doing, man?
Cool, man.
¿Qué pasó? Puro Chivas, güey.
America. Kick this guy out. He said Chivas.
I'm not even a soccer fan, but I know I'm offensive everybody when I say that.
Oh, shit. So, guys, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play another short clip here from Doug Fisher, who was there, and then I'm going to let Dave, who was there, and he's here live with us. I'm going to let him cook, and I mean cook on this topic because I'm tired of hearing the Margarito always being brought up when it comes to this Glovegate stuff, man. It's just
a crutch,
really,
bro. They just bring it up as a crutch. Like, Margarito got away with it. Why wouldn't anybody else get away with it? That's what it is.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, man, it really just grinds
the hell out of my gears, man. Okay, so let me unplug again.
Hey, can I just make something really clear? First off, I was not there, but I did send people there from Leaving the Ring at the time that were working for Leaving the Ring.
Okay, got you.
Okay, all right.
So here's,
I mean, if you're talking about the fight, the actual fight in the dressing room and everything, yes, I was there. I was there recording, and I was there recording him during training camp. And that's true. Yes.
Cool. So I'm gonna play this short clip here. It's only about, let me see, about a little over a minute.
Not a Nevada State Athletic Commissioner reviewing it. We're good.
Yeah. So here's Doug Fisher, what he had to say about what was found on the wraps in the court hearing.
All right, go ahead.
That he had hand wraps dipped in plaster, and that's not the truth. Most of these people saying this have never actually seen the evidence, never seen the wraps. They were simple, wet, bloody wraps. And they didn't have plaster on them. If you read the report, or if you covered the commission hearing, there were traces of substances that could be used in plaster. And it could be like chalk and water. You know what I'm saying? And if you talk to commission, and I've talked to some guys on the commission who used to be with the commission who are no longer with the commission, and I asked them, well, how much of these traces were on the confiscated wraps? And he said, like a pinch of salt. So that's the truth. But what's written out there is that he had like he had pieces of plaster in his wraps or in his gloves, or his wraps were like dipped in plaster of Paris, and that's just not true. And
there you have it, guys, from a primary source, someone that was there, somebody that was there.
Someone that was there and that saw it and talked to people, talked to the commissioners, the people that work for the commission here in California. I mean, it's not as cut and dry as people made it seem, and as HBO made it seem. Now that I'm looking back, HBO had me all emotionally tied into this thing, leading into the Pacquiao fight and the Cotto fight, the rematch.
See, the honest truth is that there wasn't even a whole lot of folks there. To just be honest about it, that there was not a lot of outlets there. Leaving Ring was there, Max Boxing, and The Ring. They were there covering this, okay? And again, the biggest problem, like right now, if you look at what's going on in the world right now, everybody's like saying fake news. Well, there's a lot of fake news in boxing. And guys that actually were covering it, or decided to cover it, it didn't matter because it didn't even filter to the ears or the eyes of folks that wanted to know about what was really happening in the sport. Because the fact is that if you're a nationalist person, like the Puerto Ricans are nationalist guys, okay, and this was like a division that was started long ago between Mexico and Puerto Rico. So they wanted to believe that their guy got cheated out for Margarito without even looking at the facts. I mean, they can give a shit about the facts, but the same thing could be said about Mexican people. They can give a shit about the facts.
Right.
Let me ask you this. I want to ask you some questions. So my first question is this. Now we all know that the whole break fell out. We all know that's bullshit, right? And we know that, and there's still people talking about it. Like, no, totally. There was a bunch of plaster on it. Like this dude had cast in his fist and all this other bullshit. We all know that's dumb. But here's the thing: the commission did confiscate it. So I would think they confiscated it for a reason. Was it simply because of the objection from Naseem, or was there something that Capatillo was doing that they said that rose some type of either alarm or made them say, you know what, no, just do it all over again? What exactly was the issue with the Raps?
It was the allegation. And they did the right thing. They jumped on it and they were like, okay, there's something here because Naseem Richards and whoever was in that room that were making these allegations. So they jumped on it. There's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? I mean, you're supposed to do that. If you think that a trained eye sees something that there's wrong with the hand wraps, and asks for the hand wrap to be done again, I'm not going to be a guy that's going to say, I'm going to object to that. If I don't have a problem with it, let's go on and forward and do it.
Okay, is it true that because I think there's some confusion here in terms of how the process went down. Naseem was there while it was getting wrapped, right? In the process, or did he show up after they were done wrapping?
Again, I was not there. I was there after the fight at the hotel. So I was not in the room. I was there. I was there when they were training. I filmed them when they were training, and I filmed them after when he lost. And like I said, he was not aware. Antonio Margarito was not aware of what happened after. Like, he didn't know that this was going to happen. He was more like, I just got my ass kicked. That's where he was at.
No, I guess what I'm trying to get at is, from your understanding, was he there or does nobody know? Because I think that there's some stories that say, oh, the commission even signed off on it, right? And then Richardson shows up and he knew, like, just by looking at it and feeling it, something was wrong, and requested that they unwrap the whole thing.
You know,
And
I hate to say, like, like false information. I honestly don't remember. I did do a YouTube video talking about it and was saying, like, before I jump on the bandwagon saying Antonio Margarito was a cheater, we have to release all the facts and all that. So honestly, I can't say that if he was there, if he wasn't there, if he showed up later, I couldn't say that at all. You know? All I can say is this: is that his story keeps changing, not just with Antonio Margarito, but with other guys that he accused.
Okay. So basically, I think this was a situation where he probably used this tactic to have guys unwrap and kind of mess with them a little bit and, keep them from staying relaxed. And then in this situation, it got very real when it went to court.
Hey, it works. I mean, look, can you consider it cheating? No, because you want to have the upper hand in any fight. It is considered, getting in the mind of another fighter. I mean, Muhammad Ali, Casamata, all these guys, they did certain things. Like, Roberto Duran's trainer, used to comb his hair, remember, to make him feel like that, hey, he's still fresh to fuck with the other guy. So this is maybe not saying that maybe that was his gig. I don't know. You know what I mean? But I mean, if you can try to do something to psychologically fuck with the other guy to get the upper hand, go for it. But at the same time, you're tarnishing another guy's, you know what I mean? You're just tarnishing his name. And is that cool? No, but you know what? We live in a dog-eat world.
Could it be a case where Capatillo was just trying to, maybe he just wasn't doing it the quote-unquote correct way? And
absolutely. Yeah, he could have fucked up. I was telling that to G-Funk yesterday earlier. I was like, he could have fucked up. He could have said, I'm going to take this. And he said that too. Just be clear about that. That Capatillo said, hey, listen, I might have put on a hand wrap because he was being rushed. He said that. I was being rushed, so I might have put on a hand wrap and all that. Yeah, he could have done that. But the might have is what I have a problem with. The might, like, what do you mean? What do you mean might? Either you did it or you did.
Okay. Well, I think this is the part, like, were you able to ever see the, I see pictures online, but like sometimes the internet, you don't know what to believe, because I know that in this interview, Doug Fisher said he saw the evidence. Like, were you able to ever see the actual confiscated piece?
No, I wasn't, but Gabriel Montoya and other people that I know, especially like Gabriel. Gabriel's not one to fabricate like certain evidence or anything like that, and like, again, he wasn't charged with anything. Antonio Margarito was never charged with anything. To bring it back with Cotto, that was something that never was even brought up until after the Mosley fight. Okay,
right.
But here's one thing that I like to mention, and I said this in the chat room. I mean, are we not going to mention that Mosley was popped for PEDs? He
could have been juicing. You never know, right?
Yeah, I mean, no, I'm not saying that. I mean, he might have. Honestly, his dad. I interviewed his dad, Jack Mosley, numerous times, and Jack Mosley had told me that Margarito. This before the fight was even thought about and happened. He said Margarito's the perfect opponent. That may be true because Mosley was really, honestly, demolishing a lot of men. I mean, he defeated Oscar. But what I'm saying is, like, look, man, if you're going to point one finger at one guy, why are we not pointing the other finger at this guy that actually got popped?
Well, I get your point, but the thing specifically right now that we're talking about is wraps and gloves. That's why. But the reason I was asking about the evidence, because if you remember, was sitting next to Mark. Oh, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
You're breaking up. Go ahead. What did you say it again? Say it again.
Okay, so Cotto and Margarito, when they had their face off, right?
Mm-hmm.
the wraps that he was wearing, as we know, the dye from the glove, okay?
Yes.
It was on the wrap itself in that area, in that part of the knuckle or what area, right?
Right.
But that wasn't what Cotto was referring to. That's what Margarito said. Cotto was talking about lo roto, not lo rojo. Margarito interpreted it as lo rojo. He wasn't talking about the red part. He was talking about the part that looks, from the picture frame, it looks cracked.
Well, that
That's
might
what
be
it looks
tape.
like.
I mean, look, man. I mean, if you've ever had your hand wrapped and you've ever been in a boxing match or even competed, if you have your hand taped, it can break. Here's the thing: is that most folks listen, because I've been asked that before. Like they'll go like, okay,
I mean,
he had
gotta
a
admit,
cast.
it looks kind of off. You know what I mean?
It really doesn't, though, bro. It really doesn't. 12 rounds of boxing or 10 rounds of boxing, if you have tape over your knuckles and over your gauze, it's going to break. It does happen. Okay? And let me ask you this. If Antonio Margarito was planning something in his hand, the Paris, why would he take off his gloves?
I was gonna mention that. And I got some clips of that I wanted to show. Before I get to that, I want to show you guys something here, because as soon as this happened, the narrative was, well, he must have cheated when he fought Cotto and Paul Williams and so forth.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, again, I like to look at evidence, and that's just the way that I am. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you guys a couple of pictures here of Cotto. Here is him. This is the first fight, and this is going into round 9. Now, the reason why I'm showing round 9 is because the second fight was stopped after round 9. And I just want to do a comparison of faces here. Now, look at Cotto's face there. Now, obviously, he's got a bloody nose. You can see right there, the gauze, that Q-tip there was in his nose and pulling out some blood.
Right.
But you don't see a whole lot of marking here. And this fight only went another 2 rounds. So 9 rounds of quote unquote hitting a guy with sledgehammers like Jim Lampley said in the second fight. This doesn't look to me like a guy getting hit with sledgehammers after 9 rounds.
Like, it definitely doesn't look like Collins Resto, no.
No, not even close. Now I'm going to show you at the time of the stoppage of the rematch. And let's get Cotto's face in this one.
Same round?
Same exact round. This is right after round 9 in the rematch.
And a couple of things I want to add to.
Now look at that.
Point.
That looks to me like a lot more physical damage than and we know goddamn well there was nothing in those wraps in that rematch.
Well, here's what I want to add to your point. I just want to add to your point here. Okay. One, we know for a fact going into the Pacquiao fight that they were going to check those wraps. We know that for a fact. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And Garcia, Capatillo had nothing to do with it. The hospital, bro, like he was feeling that pain in those ribs.
Yes, okay? He was hurt to the body in that fight.
A lot of punishment by Antonio Margarito in that fight. Right? Now, he did fuck up the eye of Margarito, but part of that damage started in the Cotto fight. Right? Now, Pacquiao kind of finished him off there. But one, we know the punches were real because, hey, Pacquiao will even tell you that's one of the toughest fights of his career. And he was getting hit. He was getting lit up by Margarito at times.
His body got hurt, he said. My body got hurt. He went straight to the hospital. I mean, he said he will never fight another guy that big again in a higher weight class again. Okay? That's number one. Number two, in the Cotto fight, it clearly wasn't the same Margarito, and he was a one-eyed Margarito. Cotto even said it, I'm going to take advantage of that eye. You know what I mean? So, I mean, this dude had a glass eye, man. By rounds, 3 or 4, that eye was swollen shut, or was starting I heard,
shut.
I was hearing that Margarito was taking shots out of that glass eye. And he won it.
Well, there you go. He was taking a lot of shots. But my point is, we don't know. We just don't know what happened around 10, 11, 12 if that eye wasn't fucked up like that. We just don't know. Cotto was starting to retreat. And I think what is fair to say is this. That night when that happened, I didn't care. You know,
Same
like,
for me.
like a lot of us were already emotionally invested in this kind of story HBO had told, and they successfully have convinced 99.9% of boxing fans that Antonio Margarito, without question, cheated. That, I mean, you could look up Joe Rogan, how he talks about Margarito.
That was that 1.89% that
Well,
didn't believe
just
that.
look up. All you got to do is look up a video of Joe Rogan talking about Antonio Margarito, and he's talking about it like it's a fact, man. Like, oh, this
I mean,
guy
Joe
was fighting
Rogan
everybody
talks a
with
lot
loaded
about a lot
gloves
of stuff that's not facts. You know what I mean?
but let me make my point. It's important for people to hear my point. Let me make my point. So the guy is talking about Margarito like if it's a fact that this guy had loaded gloves fight after fight after fight. You know, like, oh, look at what he did in this fight. And he was clearly like, everybody always wondered, how did this guy put so much damage on? Nobody ever wondered that, okay? That's a bunch of horse shit. Nobody ever sat down and said, man, this Margarito guy, I just don't understand how, you know, he puts on so much damage on guys. Well, if he's throwing 100 punches around and you're getting hit with uppercut after uppercut after uppercut after right hand and left hand and hook, okay, you're getting hit repeatedly. Okay, you're going to damage opponents. Okay, that's literally the name of the game. Okay, it's the hurt business. You know, no one ever sat down and said, man, there's just something about this Margarito guy. Literally, nobody thought that. Everybody started saying that after the controversy of the Mosley fight. All right, Mosley beat Margarito because the style was all wrong for Margarito. That's all it was, in my opinion.
Let me say this really quick, okay? Antonio Margarito he had the toughest time with a guy out of Puerto Rico by the name of Daniel Santos that wasn't even close to Miguel Cotto's stature, okay? Daniel Santos was a guy that, just an average guy that was really tough and very big. If Margarito was going to load his gloves, why would he not do it against a guy he couldn't pass? Like, he couldn't get past this guy, Daniel Santos. Why wouldn't he do it?
Yeah.
I even asked Antonio Margarito in an interview, hey, are you going to fight this guy for a third time? And the headbutts. I was talking about Daniel Santos' headbutts, and all he said was like, I want him next. Like, I hope that happens next after the Cotto fight, because that's something, it's unfinished business. But he literally, honestly, could not beat this guy that had a jab, and it was a big welterweight.
Yeah,
who gave a lot of other guys problems. So. Antonio Margarito went with Paul Williams. It was a phenomenal fight. He went in and knocked out Kermit Cintron. He even beat the brakes out of Sergio Martinez.
Yeah, early in his career, he did.
Yeah,
and I want you guys to really go back and listen to the end of that last of the ninth round. The last, I want to say, 30 seconds or so. You will hear Jim Lampley say this. He says, you are not seeing the same effect of Margarito's punches. He said, sledgehammer effect. Sledgehammer effect. I mean, if that's not, just over-exaggerating, I don't know what is. And I showed you guys what it looked like from the first fight.
Yeah, he was not a one-punch knockout artist. That's just such bullshit, okay? And if that was the case, then why did Floyd Mayweather avoid him? Or Oscar De La Hoya?
Yeah, he wanted those guys. He sure did. Now I want to show a clip here. Now we talked about the crack that was in Margarito's hand wraps in the first fight. So I'm going to show him walking around with the wraps on. He actually hugs Miguel Cotto with the wraps on.
Right.
Like
Tyson Fury did with Deontay Wilder.
Yeah, for me, it's
a lot different. That's all I'm going to say. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Here we go. I'll just play it, and then we'll just we'll go from there. But this is the end of the fight. Like, you see him right there, showing his fist to the world. Maybe he doesn't care about getting caught. I don't know. But you can see that mark there on that left hand there. Now you're gonna see here in a few seconds. They're gonna put him down. Look, there he goes. Embraces Cotto. I mean, that takes a lot of balls to do that, man. If you had plaster of Paris or whatever.
Well, again, everybody
whatever it is,
wraps their hands completely different. It's every trainer has a certain way of how they're gonna wrap your hand. You know what I mean? So either you're gonna have tape. You can't. Okay, so what's illegal is taping your knuckles. You can't do that. You have to have gauze on your knuckles, and then you could tape, and you could do everything else outside. So, like if Tyson Fury had some gauze outside of his knuckles, it could look complete. It could look soft. Antonio Margarito had tape over the gauze, so it looks like a cast. Like I said, everybody does something different. The only thing you cannot do is put tape over your knuckles.
So you have to tape over the gauze of what you're saying. I just want to clarify this before someone takes what you say out of context, right? Okay, no, because if you say knuckle, people are thinking about the knuckle area, right? So
you can't tape anything over your hand, over your forehead. You cannot put tape over your knuckles.
I understand that, but you're talking about the actual, like the skin, the knuckles, is what you're talking about.
Yeah,
right. Because people interpret that as a knuckle area, but you could put. You're saying you could put tape over the gauze.
That's what they have. I mean, that's exactly what every fighter has. Before you put the glove on, you're going to have tape.
For example, if you Fury's wraps, it looks nothing like that. I mean, I understand you're saying it looks different, but here's the thing. I'm not saying this is a smoking gun or anything. All I'm saying is I could see why people paused and said, "What's that? Well, why does that look like that?" Especially after the accusations came out. And with
look at Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao, Freddie Roach was twisting the tape in between the fingers.
Right.
What I mean?
There was I guess they were allowed to do that. Run PMC was mentioning that, and I guess that's why, I mean, I can't say 100% that's why Margarito's eye got busted the way it did, but
I mean, look in California. In California, it's not legal, but maybe in Texas. Maybe in Texas.
Here we go. Here we go. Right here. He says the real criminal stuff occurred in Texas in the Pacquiao Margarito fight. Both fighters were allowed to stack their wraps and use brown strapping tape because Margarito took was that some sort of drug? I guess is that what that is?
And drank coffee.
So I guess they were allowed to do stacking, which is from what I hear, you can't stack. You're not allowed to do that.
You're not allowed to stack. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I didn't hear about that, but look.
Well, it sounds like both of them agreed to it, apparently. So
yeah.
By the way, it's worded there.
And Afro-Rican G, I know you got here late, but I did play some audio from Doug Fisher, who was at the hearing, and he says that what they found was something minute as far as an illegal substance. It was.
Can I ask this?
No, they didn't. Did they find something on Margarito's hand wrap or not? No, they didn't. Can
I ask you this question, Dave? I don't remember the California State Athletic Commission ever saying any official statement or exonerating him or anything like that. Was there anything like that occurred?
No, there wasn't, and that was one of the things that we had in the interview. I don't know if G-Funk played any of the interview we had with Margarito. They didn't do anything. They did nothing to clear his name. The same thing with HBO and the same thing with Golden Boy. They did nothing, absolutely, to clear his name.
What would the motivation be to not admit they were wrong? I guess I don't see the reason why they wouldn't just do it.
I can't speak of that. I don't know. I mean, that would entail for me to be in their minds. I have no idea.
Right.
I want to read a tweet here that I got from Doug Fisher. This was from earlier this year. Apparently, somebody had put a video or some photos of that fight between Margarito and Mosley, and said, on this date, so many years ago, this happened, and he got busted for loading his wraps. And Doug left a reply to that and said, Margarito's quote unquote illegal hand wrap inserts were confiscated before the fight. the California State Athletic Commission actually didn't find anything on the dirty old extra wraps, but reported that there were minute substances in the grit that could be used in plaster. You should read the commission's report on this case. So again, like he said in the audio, he says how much of this substance was there, and he said like a pinch of salt. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's, to me, that's really nothing.
I mean, it goes back
you know?
again, like G-Funk, like what we reported was that there was a foreign substance, but they couldn't even identify it though.
Mhm.
Right.
They couldn't identify it. You know what I mean? Because it was so little.
Yeah.
It's not like, it's not like when Brandon Rios came on Leaving the Ring, goes, I took a shit and all they found was like a percentage. But with PEDs, it's different.
Mhm.
You can have a percentage, like 1,000 may not sound, 1,000 may not sound a lot, but it is a lot in PEDs. It's completely different what they were talking about.
Yeah, it's to me, this case, the more and more I look into it, the more I'm like, man, it's not what I thought it was to begin with, and a lot of that has to go to HBO and what they reported, and that was to hype his fights with Pacquiao and the rematch with Cotto, and
it was before HBO though. I mean, I'm not going to put it all on HBO because they were only reporting what they heard at the moment. But then when they went off and doing that face off, dude, they like, to me, I was like, oh man, that's fucked up. Like you literally tarnish this guy's name to sell a fight, because that's what they were trying to do. You know what I mean? That's what HBO decided to be a promoter. We're going to sell this fight.
And they did. Let me tell you, I was very much involved in that. I wanted to see Cotto kick his fucking ass because I was.
Can you imagine if HBO?
Let
me ask you this, guys. Let me ask both of you guys and anybody in the chat room. You imagine right now if HBO was in the business right now with Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury?
Oh man,
what Deontay Wilder is going off of and the conspiracies?
Yeah,
It would help with pay-per-views,
Yeah, they would be able to. They would jump all over it.
Absolutely, and I want to say this too, because I had I had a lot of people at my house for that rematch between Cotto and Margarito, and everybody that was there wanted Cotto to win just because we all were under the impression that this guy cheated. There's no doubt about it that he cheated. And I still have my prediction video up, and I believe I still have the post fight up for that fight. And I did pick Cotto to win, and I wanted him to win because of that. But as I'm watching the fight, to me, it was almost like a rerun of the first fight. Like,
I mean, not 100%, but I hear you.
I was telling people, like, I want to say maybe 2-3 rounds before it was stopped, I was like, all right, man, Cotto, he can't hurt Margarito. I mean, like, his eye is swollen shut, obviously, from the injury against Pacquiao, but he's not hurting him. He keeps coming forward. He was applying a lot of pressure.
Right.
And Cotto was, I mean, there's no guarantee that he would have made it to the 12th round, man. I'm just saying, like, he didn't look like the freshest guy going down the stretch of that fight, man. Or am I over-exaggerating that? What do you guys think?
I mean, here's what I'll say. I think Cotto had an easier time because of Margarito's eye, and Margarito just wasn't the same fighter anymore. I mean, he took a beating in that Pacquiao fight, and had been in a lot of wars by that point as well. Cotto, I think, I think he looked a little better. Like if I'm being honest, than he did in the first fight. In the first fight, he was getting his head was popping up and down a lot from uppercuts, bro. You know what I mean? But especially when he got against the corner, he got hit a lot less when he was in the corner. He threw a few more shots on his front foot than he did in the first fight. A lot of them in the first fight were off his back foot, But you're right. I mean, he obviously didn't have quite enough to keep Margarito off of him. And if it wasn't for the eye, I think it's pretty close to the first fight, to be honest. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I mean, I just watched this fight today while I was doing all the preparing for the show. And when he walked back to the corner after that 9th round, he's like yelling at the doctor and shaking his head like, "Don't you dare stop this fight!" Like, like I think he felt like he was coming on. Go ahead, Dave.
I was going to say this. After Antonio Margarito, I mean, I didn't think he looked that great. I mean, he went off and fought like Michael Jennings and then Joshua Colati and stuff. And then he lost to Manny Pacquiao. But then after that, he decided to move up to, Foreman. And he struggled with Ricardo Mayorga. Let's not forget that. Before he decided to get back in the rematch with Antonio Margarito. So, like, I was watching what you were seeing, a guy that was going back and revisiting a time that he was having trouble because of the fact that he doesn't take punishment very well.
Yeah.
And
African G, sorry to cut you off, Dave, but
yeah, no, go ahead.
You got to go back and watch earlier. I put a picture of Cotto's face after the 9th round from the first fight and after the 9th round in the second fight, because that's when the second fight was stopped by the doctor. And we all agreed here, and I mean, I don't know, you might think differently, but we all agreed here that his face looked worse in the second fight than the first fight after 9 rounds. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, I don't remember that, but I gotta tell you this: that after he fought Antonio Margarito, it was what like 2 years after he decided to fight Floyd Mayweather. So there was some recovery that he had to do after the second fight with Antonio Margarito. So
yeah,
I may be wrong about the year. 2-3 years, I don't know.
Yeah, it was 3 years after the first fight. And hold on a second. Bruce goes, I don't want to make it seem like I'm picking on you, but this is not true. I'll show you right now. Just give me 1 second. Cotto's kids were there and his wife for the second fight. You can see right there. This is the rematch. See, 2011 ringside. So, I mean, I understand, your point, that could be a reason why somebody would want to stop fighting. They don't want their family to see them continue to take a beating the way he was taking a beating in that first fight. But they were there.
Why, why people believe in conspiracy theories. And by the way, sometimes conspiracies, there's a difference between a conspiracy, because conspiracies do happen, and a conspiracy theory. All right. But the reason, like I've always said this, right? If you have to make a movie about the Margarito Cotto fight, which one is a juicier story? Which one's the one that more likely people are going to go see? About the evil dude that had plaster of Paris in his hands and cheated to beat him, and then Cotto comes back, with a white armor and beats him in the rematch, right? Or the guy didn't cheat and he just beat him in the rematch. I mean, which one's a better Hollywood story?
I think a better Hollywood story is this. Did Margarito show up with plaster of Paris versus Shane Mosley, which is an American fighter? Because honestly, saying that they allege against Miguel Cotto with a Puerto Rican fighter doesn't sell anything.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's deriving from my point.
Yeah,
I think what I'm trying to say is, like, which one of those two would sell better? Like, why do people believe in the conspiracies? Just like anything, right?
Yeah.
People like to go with the, people love like being that third eye. Like, oh, look, I saw something the masses don't see. Look, the masses are all brainwashed. Me, I have that eye, el ojo, that catches the shit that nobody else sees and all this other shit.
Right. And I don't want to be the guy. Honestly, I don't want to be the guy that's like sounds like like the Weddles are evil and all that. But shit, man, growing up, everything was like against the brown guy or the black guy. They're the bad guys. Clint Eastwood or like Rambo and Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger, they were gonna solve everything. You know what I mean? Chuck Norris was gonna solve everything. You know what I mean? So
Rambo movies are the worst, bro. Like, it really is, dude. Like here's Rambo, and he's hiding in the woods and like in the jungle and shit. And
I know that, and it's
some
and honestly,
dude walks out. like all mean, like you know, like what the fuck, bro? Like this is so stereotypical, bro. You know,
I know,
but yeah,
D,
you're right.
and you know what, D, it's crazy because like we're seeing that right now. Like you're seeing the Proud Boys, you know, these other folks that were like, you know, they're walking around with AR-15s and stuff like that, like they're gonna like prevent something. Like, what are you guys doing?
It's pretty outrageous.
Hey, breaking news. 92 AKU agrees with me. Breaking news.
That's great to see right there, man. But
Well, let's see you 92. Let's give another 5 minutes. He's gonna disagree with you right now.
I think it's fair to say, though, that like at the end of the day, you know, a lot of people keep like let's go back to why this is being like why Margarito Cotto keeps coming back up, and this is what it is, and I'll explain to everybody what it is. Okay, it's to cast doubt on the commission that oversaw the fight for Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder. That's what it is. Okay. Oh, hey, the commission was there for Cotto Margarito too. And what happened there? It wasn't the commission that caught him. It was Nassim Richardson, right? So, like, you know, that's what it is, to cast doubt on it. But then, but there's doubt on the Cotto Margarito thing and the Cotto Mosley thing. Like, it's not, at the very least, it's not what was portrayed by the media, like, at all.
But that, you know, the whole Cotto Margarito thing didn't come after the Mosley and Margarito thing. So let's remember that. Like, there was no casting of doubt with Cotto Margarito. The casting came after. That dark cloud came after what HBO decided to do with Antonio Margarito and Miguel Cotto, you know? And the reason they did that is because they're a network. They were trying to sell a fight.
Let me tell you something, man. When Jim Lamley talks about he doesn't have the same sledgehammer power and trying to put that in people's heads,
that was great.
He was hurting Pacquiao against the ropes, man.
Yes.
Right?
Well, you know what? Jim Lampley. All I gotta say about this, that's exactly what your wife was saying. That's why she left you. You
man.
Yeah. You didn't have the same sledgehammer, my friend.
The same sledgehammer effect.
And if you want to sue me about it, go right ahead and that, because what you did to Antonio Margarito, bro, you're doing the same thing. I mean, that's just fucked up. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna say this again. I said this on my show. The reason why you guys were saying this, because you had an indigenous fucking Mexicano that didn't speak English, and you figured I can just do what we want with this guy. And he's not gonna say anything about it because you don't have the money. And Antonio Margarito said that. I didn't respond to it, or I didn't want to fight it because I did not have the money. One, did not have the money, or two, I just got off a suspension. I wanted to fight to make a living. That's the third thing.
Yeah, and guys, I just posted in the chat a link to Leave It in the Ring's interview with Margarito.
Yeah, check it out after the show. Check it out after the show.
But it's there for you guys to see. Dave and his crew, these guys put in some good work, man. And they asked him the tough questions, And the one thing that I liked about the whole interview was that Margarito had no issue answering anything, And there was even a point where Dave was like, does he want to stay longer? And he was like, yeah. So it's not like he was running away.
Yeah, puto, let's go.
Right.
But the last thing I want to say, and then I'll let you guys say whatever you want, and then we'll move on to the next topic. But when you go back and watch the fight with Margarito and Mosley, they didn't even announce anything had happened in the back until that first bell for the first round was getting ready to ring.
Right.
Larry Merchant said that they had just got word that Nassim Richardson had found something illegal, I guess. I'm paraphrasing. Can't remember word for word. But, they found something in the glove, in the wraps, and that Margarito's wraps he had to have his hands wrapped 3 times before going out there and fighting. And then I remember hearing, sorry, man, but I remember hearing Emmanuel Stewart saying, well, I would only be concerned if it was plaster of Paris, and come to find out, it wasn't. You know.
Here's what I'll say. Here's what to add to your. I completely forgot about the 3 times thing, but here's what it does prove. So, look, was Capatillo just an incompetent guy that couldn't rap it the right way, or was this devious genius that was able to get plaster of Paris on the raps? It can be both. You know what I mean? So the fact that they were trying to get him, I mean, 3 times. He couldn't have done it 3 times, unless the bricks fell out 3 times, right?
Yeah.
So I know it didn't happen. To be honest with you, there kind of is some form of like circumstantial evidence that, maybe he was doing some things that were just technically wrong. And and Nassim Richardson was like, no, you can't do that. And then he would have to start all over or something. You know what I mean? I think that's telling me. Like he wanted to come out like Trinidad with the fucked up raps.
Yeah,
those. You know what I mean?
Those raps were shitty as hell. Let me tell you. But Chicano Prophet, I want Dave to go in on this because Margarito was injured and he says he couldn't make weight. Now, Doug Fisher, I don't know if this is true or not, but Doug Fisher did mention this in an article that I guess they had brought in a bad scale the day before. And it said that Margarito was over a pound, already dehydrated, and they had to go run to try to shed off that pound. And then by the time he stepped on an official scale, he was at 145. So according to him, a guy who was already badly dehydrated, trying to make 147, they made him lose more weight than he had to. But he was injured. Dave, you can speak on that.
I mean, he was injured. His back was hurt. He talks about that in the interview. But the reason why he didn't want to back out of it is because he was like, well, everything's set in stone. And he knew that, you know what, it's going to push it off. There's people that are very invested in it. And you got to go back into the Leaving the Ring interview that we did with him.
Yeah, and it's in the chat, guys. You got to watch it.
Yeah, because I can't remember every word for word that he said, but I mean,
right.
Like he literally breaks it down and why.
I remember him saying that the day before he was like dying of thirst and that he was already on weight according to his scale, but he was so thirsty that he said he just put water on his lips and then went back to sleep.
Well, let me, here's one thing I want to say about Capitan that nobody's talking about. The time that Antonio Margarito beat Cotto, another fighter that was under the tutelage of Capitan was Segura that beat Calderon, and he beat him twice.
Yep.
After Calderon, Ivan Calderon got beat, he never complained about it until he started seeing what was being pushed and published. Then he started saying, "Oh, that I think that's the reason I lost too."
Ironically, like he got beat kind of the same way Cotto got beat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Stylistically, it was just a bad style for them, man.
Yeah. And now, and Antonio Margarito was getting trained in Maywood, and Segura, Giovanni Segura was getting paid in getting trained in Azteca, 2 different gyms.
Yeah,
2 different gyms, and that gym that Giovanni Segura was getting trained out of, Julio Cesar Chavez was getting trained out of there as well. That when he came down to the States, So if you're gonna call one trainer a cheater with a gym, you got to call them all.
Right. And I want to say what's up to a few people here that showed up. Mr. Boxing Today too, the best heavyweight boxing channel here on YouTube, hands down. And we also got Retro Boxing and Documentaries, who did a fantastic documentary on Salvador Sanchez. Both of these guys here, D-Style and 97 Rough, were involved in that and had a piece on that. You guys, if you haven't seen it, you got to see it. Great work there by Blood Boxing. Jeez, I forgot what I was going to say now. Now I'm all excited about the Salvador Sanchez thing. But and I just want to say this because a lot of you guys here, I know a lot of you guys, might be on the fence, or you might be on the other side of this Glovegate thing than we are. But I think from the information that you heard here today, I think we can drop this whole trying to tie in Margarito and Tyson Fury. I mean, I think it's pretty much done, man. We can't
think of
use
all
the argument.
Look at it like firewalls, right? The commission's like an antivirus, pretty much. Look at it that way. That doesn't mean that you're never going to get a virus. Of course, it doesn't mean that, but it's going to stop a vast majority of viruses from attacking your system, right? Your computer. That's what the commission does, right? But then you have like your corner man, like your trainer, the guy that's there checking, is to make sure that the Trojan doesn't get in the ring. All right. So like that's why he's there. He's there to check that, that 1% chance or less than 1% chance that it gets through the cracks. That's why that trainer is there to check. At the end of the day, I mean, look, if you can just say, oh well, if you use Margarito Cotto as an example for everything, then you could literally you could accuse any fighter of cheating and just fall back and say, well, look, I mean, the commission didn't catch him that time. Even if you believe it, like I'm already leaning and not believing it. I've been there for a couple months now. Okay, for the Margarito Cotto thing. Like,
can I go back to?
Go ahead.
Can I go back to with 92? His comment right now. Can you throw that back up there?
There you go.
He said, "I can't believe everything Tony says." Yeah,
yeah, he's already disagreed.
Remember when the video recording is pulled? I mean, if that's the case, I mean, Floyd Mayweather is he racist when he was talking about Manny Pacquiao? I mean, Antonio Margarito made fun of Freddie Roach about his Parkinson.
No, but that wasn't Margarito though. That was
it was
Brandon Rios.
It was Margarito that made that.
It was Brandon Rios, bro.
Because I remember Margarito was doing.
No, it was Margarito too. Margarito did the same thing.
Okay.
Did he?
I'm not gonna condone that, but it doesn't mean he cheated.
Yeah. And I remember this. I remember this because when he fought Pacquiao, he had Robert Garcia, and they were taping his hands up for sparring, and they brought like a brick, and then he turned away, like you can see, and that's what I remember. But I mean, maybe he's talking about something else. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Dave, any last words on the Margarito situation here, man, before we go on to the next topic?
Well, I mean, any last words is like, look, man, if I mean, there's nothing I can say or do to change anybody's mind and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I mean, if you don't want to look at facts or anything like that, and that's where we're at as a country, we don't look at facts. We look at what benefits or makes us feel like we're smart at the moment. You know what I mean? And I mean, if that's where you're at, then you're not going to believe us, or you're not going to hear what we have to say.
Yeah. Big Dog Willie, thanks for being here. Mr. Boxing Today too says Maypac, Povetkin, Metaloman, Ward, Kovalev, Wilder, AJ, Glovegate, etc. Just another day on YouTube. Yeah, we've been here for quite some time, man. These two guys here longer than myself, but yeah, we know how it is, man. And I want to thank you, Dave, for coming on and giving us some good information, because a lot of people don't know about this stuff, man. It's just they think it's real cut and dry, and it's just not. And
well, they should. If they call themselves boxing fans, you should do your research.
Absolutely.
I should not be here. You know what I mean? Refreshing your mind about what happened and stuff like that.
Yeah, but you know what? In fairness, let me say this: there isn't anywhere to really go. Like, I know you say do your research. If you type down Margarito Cotto controversy, like 99.9 of the stories are going to be talking about what everybody already believes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Dan Rafael was on ESPN, and they flat out asked him, "Do you think he cheated in the Cotto fight?" And this is literally what he said, word for word. He goes, "I have no proof, but in my heart, I know he cheated." He said. That's what
I mean, if you're gonna believe Dan Rafael, come on.
Yeah, but I mean,
Give the guy a fucking bag of fucking Doritos, and he'll tell you whatever you want. Come on.
No, I agree with you, but what I'm saying is,
The public will believe that.
That's like Dan Raphael. You know, a
Mhm.
good percentage of boxing fans get their
Well,
information.
that's where we're at, and as a country, that's where we're at. You know what I mean? You got Donald Trump right now telling everybody, you know, like immigrants are destroying this goddamn country when immigrants have made this country great. You know, that's where we're at. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know,
but what I'm trying to tell you is
nobody wants to step out of the box and actually do any research. You know, let me tell you this, okay? You know, leaving the ring was the guys. We were the forefront. We were the guys that actually stepped up and talked about PEDs, and we're actually looking to pop guys doing PEDs. And people were saying, "Oh, you know, that's just bullshit. There's no such thing." Blah blah blah. But now that it's happening, you have all these motherfuckers coming out of the woodwork talking about PEDs and saying it's a real thing. But when you had two fucking Mexicans talking about it, it wasn't a real thing. That's where we're at as a country. You know, if you're brown and you're telling the truth, it's not true. But if you're a couple fucking white boys, guess what? It's true. It's fucking bullshit.
Well, I mean, look, here's the thing, and we kind of experienced that a little bit ourselves. Like, we'll come out, we'll say something. You know what I mean? It's like crickets, and then, you know, somebody else says it all of a sudden, you know, you got fucking 20 retweets and shit. Okay?
Right.
Like, hey,
That's
look
what
over
I
here,
thought-
guys. We got Ari the Rugged Man. Okay, cool. They watched it. The views are there. You know what I mean? But thanks for sharing it, motherfuckers. But then Ring TV puts it out. The shit's everywhere. All right? So, I mean, obviously, I get where you're coming from. But back to my point, all right? If you look at, like, there's nothing people can do, really, honestly, to look for the truth of the situation. Because it's not anywhere. You can't find, like, anything of it. They would have to know what to look for, which is why we're doing this video. Like, this needs to be talked about a lot more in order for people to open their eyes and really assess the whole situation, to be honest with you.
Absolutely.
Again, I'll say this again. Antonio Margarito has spoken up about this. The fact that he don't speak English, they're gonna vilify him because he's a villain. That's just the truth.
And they portrayed him in that role too. I
mean, you look at him. You look at him. You go like, "Oh, this guy looks like a villain. This guy looks like he's not."
The villains from the novelas and shit. Like, he would wear all black.
Hey, let's be honest. The Vato looks like he's gonna be in the Clint Eastwood movie as the guy that Clint Eastwood's hunting down. That's what it comes down to.
Like when he was like talking in Spanish, right? Talking about Cotto. Tú eres el criminal. Tu suegro, yo no.
Yeah.
But now somebody that doesn't speak Spanish, all they heard was
Criminal.
Criminal.
That's all they hear.
Like all they heard a fucking villain, bro. Like seriously, look at the novelas. It's always a dude with a goatee, the mustache, all black, and he talks in a deep voice like, "Sí, yo voy a agarrar mi venganza." Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's so that's the villain in novelas and shit. He played that role. By accident, but he did.
I know. Just really quick, let me just throw something on, okay? Like Joe Rogan right now. You know, first off, he dude, he has no clue when it comes down to being Latino. Okay. I don't remember. It was like Netflix. I can't remember. You had a very famous novela woman that decided to go down and meet up with the head cartel guy from Sinaloa with what's that guy's name? That actor, Sean. What the fuck his name is, man? Help me out. Sean Penn. Okay, Sean Penn. He fooled this woman into taking him down, and he made it seem like that she set him up. She can no longer. She got exiled from Mexico. She goes back. She gets killed. You know, so I mean, a lot of times, like, you know, I'm not into the whole like media lies all the time, but in boxing, it's very common. Like, you know, boxing's full of boxing media is full of shit. It's been around longer than what the MAGA fans have been saying or what Trump's been saying. You know what I'm saying? You know, look back with Tupac, look back with Mike Tyson. They've been saying this shit for years. but it only pertains to them. People of color is not listened to. You know what I mean? Like they don't listen. People of color that been saying like media is full of shit. It's ignored. Until it's a white guy. Until it's a white guy and a powerful white guy. Oh, all of a sudden, the whole fucking world wants to make a stop.
Yeah. I mean, I've experienced that a lot with guys like Michael Moore. Now, don't get me wrong, I like his films, but a lot of the things that he brings out was something that I already knew and that I'd already spoken about with friends of mine. And they're like, get the fuck out of here. That shit ain't true. But then they see the movie and they're like, oh, goddamn. You know, like, like, what about when I told you, pendejo? You know, like.
Yeah. I mean, Tupac was talking about a lot of shit. You know what I mean? Like, he was spitting at media. You know, same thing with Mike Tyson. He was like, "Hey man, you guys are already accusing me of something. The facts are here, and this and that, but they were accusing me."
You know what? I'm glad you brought up the Mike Tyson case, Dave, because that's a classic example. I mean, they're two totally different situations, obviously.
Right.
But I mean, look, Margarito didn't get arrested because they couldn't arrest him. Okay, because they didn't have enough evidence.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Like if they could get that motherfucker in jail and handcuffs to sell a story, they would do it. Right. I mean, that's just the end of the story. I mean, this shit went to court. You know what I mean? And the other side didn't show up. Who knows what would have happened if this dude was found guilty? All right. So he was there fighting in the front line. Like Mike Tyson, I think, while we will never know, like no one was there, the evidence does suggest to me he did not rape that woman. You know what I mean? You know, like it's that's what the evidence suggests to me. And I take, look, and believe me, I take, you know, I know, you know, women that have been raped before. So like, I take that very serious. But in this case, I mean, look, I mean, she was hanging out with Mike Tyson after the supposed rape. You know, her ex-boyfriend said that, you know, after sex, she would always cry and stuff. And, you know, she just acted weird about it. So look, man, at the end of the day, Mike Tyson not getting the right lawyers and not getting the right representations what got this dude locked up. So I could see why, you know, when he goes to do an interview and some motherfucker just throws it in his face, like, hey, you know, you're an accused rapist. I can see why it pisses him the fuck off. You know what I mean? Like he gets really angry about that. But so think about that when you just throw it out there with no real evidence. Oh, Margarito was a cheater, and not only do they believe he tried to cheat in the Mosley fight and cheated in the Cotto fight, they believe he cheated his whole damn career. They just throw that shit out there like if they know. I know you don't know. All right.
Well, I mean, look, I don't know if the guy did it or not. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm not going to sit there and say like, hey, this woman should not feel this way. But that's why we're talking about it. You know what I mean? I mean, should we not have an open discussion to talk about certain evidence, right?
Yeah.
Antonio Margarito never got that. He was just fucking labeled on that.
Yeah, but Antonio Margarito has to live the rest of his life as a supposed, you know, criminal.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like,
but Mike Tyson, I mean, he gets to do movies, he gets to do all this other stuff, and he was accused of far worse.
Absolutely, and that's what I'm saying, though. Like, you know what I mean? If he was not an immigrant, which Antonio Margarito isn't, he was born here in the States. Let's not forget that, guys.
People don't know that.
Yeah, he was born in San Diego. He was born in the States. He went back to his parents, took him back to Mexico. You know?
Yeah.
If this was a guy that was like Oscar De La Hoya, it would have been swept under the rug.
Possibly, yes.
Or
very strong possible case of that. Yeah.
I mean, look, they swept Xylocaine on Mayweather's hands under the rug, so hey, it is what it is, you know.
I mean, look at Floyd. And here's a guy like Floyd Mayweather, okay, an Olympian like Oscar De La Hoya, you know, talking about rape and talking about all this stuff. You know, Floyd Mayweather. Let's think about this. His ex-wife was killed. Has it been solved yet?
No. Not that I know of.
No.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not going to make any.
No, I'm not making any accusation. But I'm saying this. That's all I'm saying is that you know, everybody can say about anything what you want about Oscar, but Yeah, the you know, the rape charges and all that, but you know, Floyd was. This is bigger.
Yeah, it's not squeaky clean, that's for sure.
Yeah.
You know, and what promoter is really at the end of the day, you know.
Yeah.
But I just hope that the information that was brought out here for you guys will make you definitely scratch your head at least.
I just
when it
think it's
comes to the
always double
situation.
standard, man. Here, what I'm telling you right now. I always think it's double standard when you have a group of people going like, you know, well, Oscar got, rape charges and this and that. He never got arrested, but Tyson did. But then you're giving him the, you know what I mean, like the pass. He's got a fucking pay-per-view fight coming up.
Yeah.
By the way,
Where's the
A-Rod
fucking
said-
energy? Where's the
A-Rod said-
energy?
Shit just got real. You're listening to Uncensored, A-Rod. That's
Yep.
why.
And that's exactly why the crew is called HCP, because we cause panic out there, man. And I know that the stuff that was said here and the information that was brought out here today definitely sent some panic out there about some people, because you know, we admitted it, that we had our minds made up that he was a cheater going
Let me
into
tell you
those
something,
fights.
guys.
You
It's
know?
going to be phases, guys. I used to believe Margarito cheated like there was no tomorrow. So to a certain degree, I understand a lot of the Glovegate guys. Like I understand, like, in the warped kind of echo chamber that they're in. Like, you know, like I understand where you are. You know, I really do. So
Yes.
like you have to, like, look, you can't convince people to change their mind, right? You just got to give them the opportunity to change their mind. That's how it works. They have to do it themselves. You know what I mean? Like, they got to go think about it, but, you know, amongst themselves, debate it in their own head. That's how people change their mind. That's how it happens with me. You know what I mean? It's the way it works. You know, so you're never going to get in an argument and a debate with somebody and just change their mind. It doesn't work that way. It's like I said earlier, it's like an onion. It kind of gets unwrapped in layers, and over time, eventually somebody just comes out and says, yeah, I don't think he did it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Okay. So, like, all I could do is give you the information, give you the facts as I understand them, interpret them at the best of my abilities, and that's it.
Yeah.
Right?
Then you do what you want with them from that point, you know?
When it comes to Glovegate, it is important for people to know that there is a glove selection meeting. A lot of people didn't know that. It is important for people to know that the other corner is able to check the gloves and inspect the gloves. They're weighed in front of the both camps. Okay. A lot of people didn't know that. A lot of people thought Povetkin was the first, and his team were the first like ever to inspect gloves, and that's just not true. Like, you guys, like,
What?
yes. So
People
what I'm
think
trying
that,
to put out there is this: like, it's important for people to know the facts. You know what I mean?
Right.
And, like, that's all it is. And look,
Slap him with them, brother.
once you have all the
Slap.
facts together, and you understand how
Slap 'em
shit
with it.
works,
Right.
right? Once you understand how shit works, you're not gonna get fooled as easily. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And I think boxing fans need to understand more how shit works. All right.
Wow. Yeah.
What's the process of the commission? All that stuff. You know, I'm hearing people say things like, "Oh, the commission doesn't check anything. It's all a bunch of bullshit." That's just not true. That's factually not true. All right. It doesn't mean the commission can't miss something, but they do check things. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, like, the commission all time, like Chief Funky knows an inspector, and I asked him, hey, are there ever cases where they tell guys, hey, you got to restart wrap, you got to rewrap that again without the other corner saying something? He said, yeah, that happens all the time.
D-Style,
You know what I
real
mean?
quick.
Yeah.
I'm gonna interrupt you. Big
Go ahead.
Dog Willie said, I still think that Margarito cheated, but it's my so I just want to know, Big Dog, can you come on and just present your evidence? I'm very curious about that, man. Like, straight up. Not your opinion. I don't want to hear your opinion like, well, because of this and because what HBO showed me. I just want to hear, were you there? Like, did you cover the whole court thing at all?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think so.
Because dude, if that's the case, then that's the reason why these MAGA guys are saying that, you know, Trump won. You're saying you're in the same parade as them. Biden lost because I believe.
Yeah, Dave, but it goes back to this. But look, Big Dog Willie's a cool dude. I'm cool with him. I got no beef with him. But look,
No, I
Yeah,
have no
yeah.
beef with
no,
him.
no, no,
I'm asking him.
but let me
asking
say
him.
this. Let me just say this really quick, okay? You're not gonna convince somebody just like that, bro. That's not the way it works. All you could do is present.
I'm not trying to
like, what
convince
you
him.
know.
I'm asking him to convince me. Like, what's the proof? I just want to hear his
He
proof.
can if he wants, but what I'm saying is that, like, trying to force it on people, it doesn't work. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
all we
And I
could do
think-
is present people what we know. That's it. Look, if you got somebody from, I know he did it to, well, he did it in my opinion, you've already done your job. You just got to give it time. You know what I mean? Like, that's just the way it is. You're not going to convince somebody in one discussion.
I'm not trying to, though, D-Style. I'm asking. He said he has an opinion. Okay, what's the opinion? But I'm saying exclude these other things that I already know I'm going to hear. I want to hear proof. Like, don't give me opinions. Give me proof. I showed you. You know what I mean? I presented proof. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Look, if people are going from I know this motherfucker cheated to I think he cheated, I'll take it for now.
yeah, it'll
It's gonna
take
be a long
time.
process. You're not going to convince someone something they believe for 10, 12 years, right? In one discussion, one video to change their minds. You know, like they have to go back and they got to look at the videos that G Funky posted. They got to look at the videos and Nassim changing his mind. They got to look at all those things.
Yeah, and
know?
Big Dog, I know you came in late, but when this is over, you can go back and check out everything. We presented a lot of stuff that is quite the contrary to popular belief of what we know about Margarito and his hand wraps.
The point I'm trying to hammer home is the information people are getting, and I do believe, like I understand you keep using the example of the MAGA guys, but I don't think 99% of boxing fans are MAGA guys. Okay, like I think a lot of honest people have been given wrong information in regards to the Margarito Cotto thing, for not just from HBO, from the majority of boxing media, from the guys that will remind people that January comes around, hey, this is the day that this happened, like the example G Funky put. So I think we got to keep putting this out there so people understand that a lot of the information they've gotten is incorrect. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
So wait, hold on. So you don't think that 99% of what the MAGA guys are getting from Fox is wrong?
No. I mean, obviously, Dave, but not everyone gets their news from Fox. Like only 40% of Republicans, believe that Trump won the election. Everyone else, knows that he didn't, right? So
I know that, but I'm just saying they're getting the information from somebody else, right? So like if you come on here,
majority of boxing media, from
the mass majority so the mass majority of boxing media are getting from folks that actually don't even investigate, don't even get into the whole facts of what's going on.
Look, all I'm trying to say is if you just start saying, hey, you're like the MAGA guys, and Big Dog Willie doesn't even like Trump, he doesn't like the MAGA guys, like you're labeling him is all I'm saying. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying.
No, I'm not labeling. I'm saying that you're doing
could come off that way because you obviously put that in
that route. You're going that route. You know what I mean? Like you're not even listening.
Yeah, Dave. But you have to understand that, like most people are getting their information wrong about this. Me and G Funky believed it too, dude, for years. You know what I mean? That's just the way it is. Like it's just like the majority of information about Cotto, Margarito, Mosley, all that.
Okay, this is all
they've gotten it from the wrong sources. That they've been kind of like programmed to believe like it's just a fact. Like when Rogan just talks about it, like it's.
I'm not talking about right now, though, guys. I'm talking about in the past. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like if you're still gonna like we're producing actual facts right now, right? And you're still saying no, I don't believe that. That's what I'm saying. Like, okay, then you're just going off of that's the problem with us. You know what I mean? That's the problem with the MAGA guys. Like, I can present facts and it doesn't matter. I'm not saying about the past. I'm saying about right now. We're presenting things right now.
I mean, I get that, but you're again, the first time somebody told me Margarito didn't cheat, I didn't believe it the first day.
But you're
You know what I
talking
mean?
about the past. You're not talking about right now.
Yeah, but
I already
here's
feel how I feel though. Like this wasn't like a one-day process. It's not like somebody told me, "Hey, he didn't cheat." Look, and I just believed it. You know what I mean? Like it's just like
I
it
get
took
that,
time.
D-Style, but what I'm saying though was that you had the time, the opportunity to get the information through the internet and everything else to determine that, right? And what
Look,
I'm saying that
let me put it
listen,
this way.
let me put it this way. So now that you have the time to come up with all this information and come up with this,
Right.
decision, is that because you had the chance to listen to everything, right? So what I'm saying is that if I see somebody saying, I still think that he's cheated, you're still in that position of saying, I'm not going to take the time to look up things or listen to other people, or like right
How
now,
about
you guys.
give him the opportunity to look at the things and
Okay.
not just assume he's not? How about that?
That's perfectly fine.
and,
And that's perfectly fine. What I'm saying though was that like G-Funk through the perfectly a great debate or argument on his show today. That I'm saying that anybody that's just jumping on right now, I'm just saying that hey, why don't you take the time and watch and listen to what he was saying?
Yeah, and Big Dog, I don't put links in the chat anymore because there's a lot of people around here that just will try to jump on, But if you put your email in the chat, if you have one, I'll send it to you that way, man. Because I would love to have you on, man. No, you're always welcome here. You've been on here before, so that's just a rule that I have nowadays because there's a lot of trolls out there that I just don't trust. If I put a link there in the chat, I mean, I just don't want to. I don't want to go that route. But you can put your email in the chat there, and I'll send it to you, man. But I would like for you to definitely go back and listen to the evidence that we presented. And like I said, it's quite the contrary to what we've been programmed by, like guys like HBO. Cotto kind of jumped on the bandwagon. Who else? We mentioned Dan Raphael, a guy who, put it out there that he thinks that
Did Kevin
cheated,
Iole ever come out and retract any of what he said? Like there's plenty of boxing writers. Okay, many of them, by the way, that vote on the Hall of Fame and all that still preach that Margarito cheated.
Yeah,
right?
and
like there's so many boxing fans out there, right? And they get
We're talking about
information.
Beaver?
What is that?
Kevin, I know you guys talking about Beaver, right? Beaver?
Yeah, man.
Now that guy never retracts anything. You know why? He's a kiss ass. He doesn't get paid.
And I've said this several times here on my channel that G-Funk is not above correction. If something comes out that proves that I was wrong about something, like I'll flat out say it. Hey, I was wrong. You guys see me all the time with my predictions. Like, I don't come out and make excuses. If I get it wrong, hey, I'm wrong. Same thing with this situation. Same thing with Glovegate. You guys know my stance on Glovegate. I'm not on board with that. But if there is a smoking gun, or if Wilder himself has a smoking gun that none of us have seen, and it's irrefutable, then guess what? I won't have a choice but to say, hey, I was wrong about it. But from what I've seen, I don't see it. Go ahead.
I like what Wilder's doing. It's going to create interest. Okay, is it right? No, but I like it. There's more people right now that's more interested about seeing this third fight. And guess what? It's going to go to arbitration, and Wilder might get this fight. Now, I don't like it. You don't like it. Nobody likes it. But at the end of the day, this fighter, Deontay Wilder, I mean, let's not skip over. This guy's fought everybody that most folks that said, oh, he's not going to fight. He don't want to fight him. You know what I mean? He's doing it. You know. Now you could say like, oh man, he don't want to fight AJ and all that. But the truth of the matter is that he had a guy that he drew with. Okay, it was a draw. It was a phenomenal fight. He dropped him. The controversial thing came out that, hey, Tyson Fury won this fight, and he said, I'm going to fight this guy again. He lost. He got beat.
Yeah. And to answer your question, Run PMC, there will be a roundtable tomorrow on D-Styles channel, and yours truly will be hosting that one. So, yes, I would love to see you guys there tomorrow. You too as well, Big Dog Willie. I mean, yeah, Big Dog Willie. Sorry. Yeah, we will be doing that tomorrow for sure. I kind of want to switch gears now because we've burned on this. We've overcooked this thing. And like I said, for the guys that came in late, you go back, listen to the evidence that we presented, listen to the video that I posted from Leave It in the Ring when they interviewed Margarito. And, you can go from there. You can do whatever you want with the information that's been presented. That's up to you, what you do with it from there. But I want to talk about something, and Dave, if you want to stay on, you can stay on as long as you want, man. But if you got something to do, you can bounce too, man. It's completely up to you. But I want to talk about something here that was interesting that I seen on Twitter the other day. Errol Spence came out and they asked him what was his top 5 pound for pound guys right now. And I'm going to show you guys what he had to say about this. I think it's pretty funny, but we're going to check it out real quickly. Let me pause it, turn it back. And of course, my keyboard doesn't want to work now for some reason. Okay. Let me share my screen. All right. Here we are. Now I'm just going to play it. There we go. Errol Spence's top 5. Oh, boy. Ooh, Chocolatito, number 2.
Man, is this list from like 4 years ago, or is it like?
I put himself number 3.
He's posting 3 guys that he'll never face.
There's Crawford right behind himself. I like it, though. I like it. And he puts Clarissa Shields.
Oh, shit. Does that mean he's going to fight Clarissa Shields before he fights James Crawford?
Oh, I don't know. So, I mean, that's his opinion, I guess, but I don't know why a woman isn't a men's pound for pound, but that's like nobody believes. Like I don't want to sound
sexist.
Nobody believes that any woman is like top 5, like top,
Oh, stop
pound
it!
For pound. You know what I mean? Ain't nobody believe that Clarissa Shields, okay, that fights in a division with 15 women on it, okay, that can't even knock those women out, is a top pound for pound boxer in the men's. Okay, like come on.
Yeah.
Okay, so who's better? Let me ask you guys this: Taylor or Clarissa Shields?
Who's better? I mean, I think Clarissa Shields is a. The eye test is there more for me, but there's no competition there though. You know
I think Shields is better.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's hard.
Not to say that I don't like Taylor, but I like Taylor. But I just think that the fact that Shields is more dominant. Now you can like the case of the division, it doesn't matter. It's just like, well, it does matter. Let me take that back. It does matter.
Let's talk about
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's talk about the top of this list. Now he put himself number 3 behind Chocolatito and Canelo. Now I find that interesting because there's a lot of guys out there in our community that talk a lot of shit about Canelo. And they don't even have, like, these guys make pound for pound lists. Canelo's not even in their pound for pound list. And they got guys like Errol Spence at number 1, but then Errol Spence comes out himself and says Canelo is the number 1 guy in his opinion. You know, I find that real interesting. What do you think of that, D-Style?
Well, I mean, Errol Spence has Canelo number 1. You know what I mean? Like that to me, that speaks volumes. Look, I mean, I think people have kind of everyone, like you can ask 10 people like what they consider pound for pound, you're gonna get like 10 different answers. You know what I mean? So it's kind of hard to get. I mean, it's subjective. You know what I mean? You can use some objectivity, but overall, it's subjective. And man, but I don't know. What do you mean, Chocolatito number? Does he know Chocolatito lost? I don't think he knows.
That's the wild card in there. I think that's more of a wild card than Shield. Would you say?
I
no?
think he saw like Chocolatito his last fight. Like, this guy's good. Like, just put him in there, you know. But I don't always followed him, you know, because Rangazai knocked him out, bro. And
yeah. I don't know if you guys could hear. I don't know if you guys could hear the audio there. No. But I believe he was saying resume wise, is why he has.
Okay, so he's going. His list is based off of resume, right? Yeah. Okay, I mean, fair enough. I think it's fair to say that Canelo has the best resume out of any active fighter, aside from Manny Pacquiao right now.
Mm-hmm.
So why isn't Pacquiao on his list if it's resume?
Good point.
Good question.
Dave, what do you think, man? Spence having Canelo number 1, man.
I think Spence is just saying that because he wants to fight with Canelo.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, and then he conveniently puts Crawford right behind himself. But I like that competitiveness. I love that competitiveness.
I mean, let's be honest right now. Like, you know, has Crawford sold as much as pay-per-view wise compared to Errol Spence? No, not yet. I mean, he has his own promoter right now saying, you know, I can't even buy a house in Beverly Hills. Come on, I'm trying to stay rich, you fuckers. Come on,
right? And do your job, Bob, and promote him. That's your job.
Yeah. Hey, D-Style, why don't you do your job and promote your goddamn podcast? Leave me out of it. I'm talking
right. The reality is that Terrence Crawford, you know, it's costing me money. Like, you know,
you know, here's the thing about Terrence Crawford. He's like Miguel. What's his name? I can't even remember his name anymore because I've lost it. They're trying to cost me money right now. All I know is that all these brown people are trying to cost me money right now. Oh, forget it. I'm done. I gotta go.
The thing is, put Garcia and Spence in the ring.
Let's make that
both because he's the best champion.
You know what fight is more accessible right now?
You just sound like a Mexican.
Mikey Garcia and Errol Spence. Bob, that fight happened already. It didn't happen under my banner.
Mexican version of Aaron for sure, Dave.
Let's not forget what he said about Regan now. He said the same thing after he beat Donaire. I don't know what to do with this guy.
I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with him. Like, get the fuck out of here, bro.
You know what? Hey, this is what I got to say about Errol Spence and Crawford. He doesn't finish me. I just can't. I'm never satisfied with that bastard.
I don't even know how to interpret that, but that is what it is. I mean, look, man. We can't make that joke about female fighters though. We would really get like pulled off YouTube.
So
Well,
yeah,
the female fighters that complain about that. I'm pretty sure I can find a couple of female fighters that can complain about the promoters and stuff like that. But you know,
yeah,
whatever.
they did Rigo dirty. That's right. Run
Hey,
PFC.
Spence has spoken, bro. Canelo #1.
Yeah, Canelo
Canelo
#1.
Cartel.
Yeah, Canelo Cartel's got some ammunition. That's for sure with that one. But before you guys leave, because I got a lot of historians here, like Mr. Boxing Today, Retro Boxing, also known as Blood Boxing, and I got D-Style and Dave here. This is the last topic, and it's a good one. It's a funny one, but it's a good one, man. And maybe we'll do more of these lists. But I just want your guys off the top of your head, and if you don't have anything, that's fine, Dave, because I know I didn't actually prepare you for this topic, but I'm sure in that big boxing brain of yours, you can remember a few moments here, but. Most funny moments from the corner. 3 of your most funny moments from a fighter's corner that you remember.
3?
Or yeah, just 3. And if you can't get 3, that's fine. But go ahead, D-Style.
So one was it was a rematch of Barrera and Pacquiao, and Pacquiao's clearly winning the fight. Like it's not even close, right? And they're interpreting Barrera's corner, you know, and it's always that same voice, you know. You're winning the fight. You're winning. You're dominating him. Look, he's going to quit. He's going to quit. Any moment, he's going to quit. You're dominating him. You're the man. Nobody's better than you. You're the best. Like, what the fuck is going on over here?
Oh, I love that.
I don't even know what they said. They were saying that, but that's what the interpreter was saying. I'm like, there's no way he's saying that. Like, what? And that's the thing, right? They always got it wrong. Like they would never interpret the corner right. That's why, you know, I think that's where like the Mexican style thing derives from. To be honest with you, like people like believe that these interpreters are giving this advice to Mexican fighters. You know what I mean? Like you're better than him. You're stronger. You can beat him. You're more man than him. Go show him you're the man. Just show him you're the man and he's the woman. You go out there, show him. Like what the fuck is going on over here? You're better than him. You're the champion. You're the best. Like what the fuck? What is this? What type of advice is this?
You know what I love about that is I believe that's Ray Torres's voice that you're trying to do because he had that kind of high. Like, yeah. But then they went to that kind of like low tone, no personality dude. I forget his name, but he's like, "Come on, you're more man than him. Come on, get in there." You know, like I can't remember that dude's name, but that's the way he talks when he's interpreting the the Spanish in the corner and shit like that. You know.
So the other one is Teddy Atlas, by the way. So Teddy's there, and you could tell like he planned this. Like he even printed out like a portrait of the dad of Povetkin. You know what I mean? And he's in the corner like, do you believe in magic? Do you believe in magic? Like, do you believe people could come back from the dead? Your dad is here with you right now. Like, are you kidding me, dude? Like when he said about his dad, and like your dad's here, and like he's gonna help you, right? That was another one.
That's classic Teddy
Like
Atlas.
that's definitely up there. The other one, I mean, no particular time, but dude, I always like laugh my ass off with Trinidad Senior would just slap his son across the face. Andale, tú puedes, boom, pa, like dude, like so Hopkins is whooping his ass and he's coming back to the corner and gets slapped. Like, god damn, bro, I'm just saying, you know.
Yeah, that I remember that a lot.
Honorable mention. De La Hoya's like dominating like Mayorga, right? Like he's having no problem with him. He just finished knocking him down and everything, right? He goes back to his corner and Cena's just like he's so pissed off that the motherfucker isn't using his jab. You know what I mean? Like he's like, why are you using your jab, man? Come on. Use your fucking jab. Use your jab, man. And he's just like poking at him with his 2 fingers and shit at his chest, like scolding him because he didn't utilize the jab. You know, like if you're gonna win, you're gonna do it with the jab. God damn it! All right. But from a trainer's perspective, I get it though, right? Because hey, you know, Mayorga has power. You don't want him to catch you with something and hurt you. So I got it, but it was still hilarious.
Absolutely, man. And like I said, this was kind of a last minute thing that I put on the guys, but we'll definitely do another one of these lists. But Dave, you got any moments, man, that you can recall right now?
That was funny that I was listening to.
Either funny or just anything
Nassim
memorable.
Richards saying, Nassim Richards saying, "Swim without getting wet" to Mosley.
Ah, yes, that was a good line. Yes,
That
I
was a
remember
phenomenal
that
line.
one.
What was the name of the guy that told Algeria, "I'm gonna let him out of the cage"?
Yeah, Tim Lane or something like that. Yeah, he's gonna knock him out. He's gonna put him to sleep. But I'm let him out of the cage, and then
Let him
boom.
out
Have him in the cage. Have him in the cage right now. Have him in the
Yeah,
cage.
Chris Algeria. But the last one, honestly, that stands out for me is when Johnny Tapia, he turned over to his camera on HBO, and he said, "Thank you, Grandpa."
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And that was a great thing.
Yeah, that's good stuff there, man.
Yeah.
My list is more of like my top 3 that I have, at least for right now, are pretty funny moments that I remembered. One of them is Tyson Lennox Lewis. That fight's getting close to being stopped. Tyson's running out of gas. It's pretty clear that Lennox is the better man in there. And he's just not dropping the hammer on Tyson for some reason.
Right.
He goes back to the corner, and Emmanuel Stewart, I mean, as soon as they go to the corner, you can see him yelling, and he's like, "Throw the fucking right hand! Get this motherfucker out of there! You gotta fuck around and get hit with some crazy shit! The man is still dangerous!
Right.
Get him!" And I'm like, damn, he's so worried that Lennox is gonna get clipped with something because, in my opinion, Lennox didn't have the best chin, And we all know Tyson. If he was able to land something, hey, you just never know. But man, I don't think I've ever seen Stewart that animated in the corner than that night. I mean, he was hitting him in the chest as well. Throw the fucking right hand, like you get.
No, he was he was very eminent. What you said right now.
Yeah.
but like to see that in that raw moment of what he was doing, dude, that was phenomenal. Like that always stand out. Like that's who he was. You know what I mean? Like he always tried to come off like this guy, like hey man, let's just do this. But if you ever met the guy in person, he just was a real dude. Like he was just like a street guy that loved the sport of boxing, and he's gonna tell you how it is. You know what I mean? And that's what he did with his fighters. Like if they were losing or winning, he's gonna say, "Look, you're fucking up, or you're winning. Keep it this way."
Yeah. That was a great moment there by
late great Emmanuel Stewart for sure. My second moment was kind of tough because can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, because I gotta play the audio to this one. It was hard for me to pick the second one over the first one, but here's my second. Ruiz versus Golota. Do you guys remember that fight? Mm-hmm. Now, after the first round, there was some action. As soon as the bell rang after the first round, there's a little bit of punching late. And Norman Stone comes running in all the way across the ring, grabs Golota's trainer by the chest and puts a fist up like he's going to punch him in the face. And he's like, all right, he's yelling at the referee, "I need you to control this guy, would you?" And that just kind of set the tone for the rest of the night, because for the rest of the fight, he's literally bitching and complaining about the officiating the whole night. And here's my favorite part of the night right here. I'm going to play. This is in round 5. Ruiz has some tape hanging from the glove, so they stop the action. And he goes to the corner to get retaped, and here's what Norman Stone has to say to the referee.
December 1999, when Andrew
Check this out.
big lead over Michael Grant in their fight in Atlantic City.
Literally called the referee a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
You got no fucking balls, you cocksucker. Like, what on earth is with this guy, man? This is. He's like, the man was hurt and you stopped it, you fucking asshole.
Hey, does Roger Mayweather like going after Judah count as a corner moment?
Yeah, that you could absolutely use that one. Now here's the best part of the night for Norman Stone, in my opinion. Now again, he's nonstop complaining, and again, he goes to the corner because there's loose tape. So here's what we got here. Check this out.
He's on his good behavior now. Maybe he feels John Reese needs to rest now. Fucking jerk off.
Calls the referee a fucking jerk off. Now the referee throws him out.
Stone out of the corner.
Literally threw him out. And from what HBO is saying, that this is the first time that a trainer has been thrown out. Now, here's the best part right here. As he's walking away, check this out.
I'm showing this every fucking thing he's got. Everything. What did I say to him? I didn't say a word to him.
He said, "What did I say to him? I didn't say a word to him." Like this. He literally just cursed him out. Literally just cursed the referee out. And what did I say to him? I didn't say a word to him. Like that guy was just bizarre, man. Norman Stone. But man, we had some great moments with him.
Moments for sure.
Yeah.
And here's my last one. Now again, we're gonna do another one of these guys, so stay tuned for that one. But here's, in my opinion, is the funniest moment out of any corner that I've ever seen in boxing, in my time at least. And I'm sure the more and more that I think about it, I'll think of some more stuff. But I'm gonna pull this up and share my screen. But Lennox Lewis versus Oliver McCall, the rematch. Do you remember that fight, D-Style?
Yeah, the crying, yeah.
So McCall's walking around the ring crying, and I mean, this is just my opinion. I think he was probably on something, you know? But I'm not 100% sure. That's just the way that I that's just the way I feel about it. Gotcha. But he's walking around the ring. He's not going back to the corner. He's not putting his hands up. Remember, he's out there with his hands down in front of Lennox Lewis, not punching. And in between the rounds, he's not going back to the corner, and the look on his trainer's face is just, I mean, it just tells it all. Let me show you guys this face right here. Oh my goodness. Look at the look on that guy's face, man. He's like, son of a bitch, I cannot believe you were acting out like this in the middle of a fight, you know?
Right. Wow.
He's like, man, I cannot believe this guy.
If this happened, like, in the social media era, that would be a meme, bro.
Oh, yes,
like, are
definitely.
You kidding me, meme? You know, like, right there.
He was like, I cannot believe that this guy is showing his ass like this in public on national TV. You know, he's the heavyweight champion of the world. Just knocked out Lennox Lewis, and oh man, poor Oliver McCall. You know, but this to me is one of the most funniest, most memorable moments from the corner for any fight. Just classic stuff there, man. But well, like I said, we'll do this again. We'll make a longer list. We'll show clips, you know, if we can. I mean, it's tough with YouTube, you know, they might take you down, but we'll see what we can do about that, you know. But yeah, those are some funny moments, man, and some good moments. Like Dave, you know, pointed out a couple of good moments too. He had to drop off, but that's cool, man. I really want to thank him for coming on.
It's like this, right? Like, I need you to throw the jab and follow up with the right hand. I mean, come on, make sure you step to his right. You know, that's what the trainer would say in Spanish. You know what I mean? Like Come on, you gotta impose yourself. You know, go at him. You know, just get him. Like, what the fuck? Get him. Go at him. You're the man. You're dominating him. We're the most like that's what they would say the most. You're dominating him. He's gonna quit. He's gonna quit. Like,
He's ready to quit right now.
yeah. Well, Jim, I mean, I don't know. I don't see where the guy's gonna quit, but like.
Oh gosh,
And
good
then, of course,
stuff.
this wasn't the corners, by the way. It was the press conferences. They always got like a lot of people think that these Cubans are assholes because of the translator, right? That dude that looks like Dracula, whatever his fucking name is, right?
Yeah.
Sí, mira, yo quiero pelear con los mejores, yo quiero pelear con Canelo porque él es el mejor de la división. You know what he said? He said, I want to fight, with Canelo. I want to fight with the best. I want to test my skills against the very best in the division, right? That's what Lara said. But that's not what the translator would say, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm going to beat him. I mean, he's been ducking me for years, and I'm going to beat his ass. He's got no skill. I'm better. I'm going to take him to the Cuban School of Boxing. Like what the fuck? That ain't what he said.
I just thought of another funny one. And Mr. Boxing Today, are you still here? I hope he's still here, man, because he's the heavyweight guy. I know he'll remember this fight. It was Bruce Seldon. He was a little bit past his prime. I can't remember the guy's name, who he was fighting, but the guy was not the most in shape guy, and he wasn't the most in shape, but he was putting up a good fight, and I remember Bruce Seldon going back to his corner, and the guy, his trainers, they're talking to him, and then right before the break is over, he's telling him, he's like, "Look, man, the man over there's got titties. All right, you shouldn't be getting beat with a man with titties. All right, like." I can't remember the guy's name though, but I'm gonna definitely find that clip for the next time we do this because I just thought that was hilarious. I mean, he's just like he didn't want to say it loud. He was almost like whispering it to him, but the corner cut him. He's like, "Man, come on, man! Like you can't be getting beat by some guy with titties. Like, come on, man!" Oh, that's funny stuff, man. But this was a great episode of Uncensored, and I want to thank D-Style for coming on and chopping up with me like always. Thank Dave, my boy Jay Stu, for coming on and giving us some some information about his facial fracture that he had, and all you guys in the chat that came in late, like I said, make sure you guys go back and listen to the information we put out there about Margarito. It will definitely make you scratch your head about the whole situation. Watch that video that I posted from Leave It in the Ring where they interviewed Margarito. Asked him a lot of good, tough questions. You'll like it, believe me. Run PMC says, "Boo Boy Fernandez screaming at Pacquiao every round on the court." Yeah, always good stuff there, man. But thank you guys so much for being here. D-Style, any last words, man?
Nah, man. Look, I mean, we've been on for a good minute, so I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And tomorrow we'll have the roundtable, so stay tuned for that.
And I'll be hosting that one, man. So make sure you guys are there. It's going to be another good one. They've all been really good. So, we hope to see you guys all there. For D-Style Boxing, I am G Funky Boxing. And we are Hispanics Causing Panic. This was Uncensored. Thank you guys so much for being here. We are out. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.